variance is typically defined as a difference between planned values or budgets and actual values. Variances can also be calculated based on the difference in value between time periods, like comparing revenue from one year to the next. Variance analysis is the investigation into the cause of the difference between these values. This type of analysis can help a business spot trends, issues, opportunities, and threats to short-term or long-term success. Version-based variances show the difference in value between two versions of data, such as actuals versus budget. By default, negative variances display in red and positive in green, but for expenditures it makes more sense to invert the colours as we have in the example above. This makes it easy to see that the consistent variance between actuals and budgets is not a good thing. A chart like this could serve as the starting point for analysis into why sales revenues changed over time and what can be done to adjust this change. Please note you must be an Enterprise Account subscriber to start version-based variance analysis in SAP Analytics Cloud. Okay, so let's move on to time-based variances. Now there are 5 different ways to define your time-based variance. Period over period, that compares to the time period directly prior. Year over year, that compares to the equivalent period in the year prior. For example, Q1 2017 would compare to Q1 2016. Quarter over quarter, that compares to the equivalent period in the previous quarter. For example, month 1 in Q2 would compare to month 1 in Q1. Month over month, that compares to the equivalent period in the previous month. For example, day 1 in month 2 would compare to day 1 in month 1. And day over day, that compares to the day directly prior. Now, to display a time-based variance, you must first define a time dimension in the model you're analysing. Variances don't display for a time period that isn't visible on your chart. For example, in order to calculate an MOM variance, your chart must drill down to monthly values. In many cases, we might need to show a variance calculation which shows the difference between actuals and forecasts. Here we'll create a new column. So click on the context menu of the forecast column and select the option Add Column. Click on the option Repeating to proceed. This will enable a new column on the right side of the existing column Forecast. Initially the column heading is empty. Rename that column to Variance. And in the formula bar change the current option from font to FX. Now add the formula as FX equals F3 minus E3. Now we can see the formula is calculated for variance, that's column D. Drill down to the hierarchy nodes, you can see that the calculation is reflected in all rows. Another option to do this is select a new tab and add a canvas page. Select a chart type, select bar or column chart, and provide the selections according to the screenshot. Click on the More options and select Compare To, then open Variance panel and add some selections in there to do the variance analysis.